These first readings during the season of Easter from the Acts of the Apostles are absolute gold. And today is no exception to that. It is Peter's vision. So Peter has this vision, and it talks about the sheet that comes down from heaven, a four-legged animal, so on and so forth. But what's going on here is basically Peter, as the first pope, is being instructed in his prayer, all right, it is time to embrace the Gentiles. It is time to welcome into the fold those who are not Jewish. And to us, it sounds like, we sing the song, Gentile or Jew, we're just like, yeah, cool. No, that's a big deal. That's like seismic shifts in how everything has been up until this point. I could not imagine a bigger change for people who grew up Jewish. If you know from the Old Testament, the Jewish people were accustomed to a certain separation. And we hear that and we think, well, that's not very welcoming. Why would God be instructing the Jewish people to have this separation? Well, it was actually a good thing for a time. That idea to be holy, to be blessed, to be set apart? In a certain sense, we're still called to that. And when God was trying to teach humanity through the Jewish people how to love him and him alone, that required for a time a certain separation. They explained it to us in seminary like this. Some of those laws about the Jewish people being separate, for a time it was like training wheels, right? Like God put training wheels on the bike so that we could learn how to focus on him. Because he knew, like little kids, we'd get distracted if we were in a different environment. And so for a while, the training wheels were on the bike. We were called to kind of live this separation. And what's going on in the first reading today is God is like, okay, Peter, training wheels are coming off today. He's like, what? The training wheels are coming off? Here's how Father Mike describes this. He said, salvation, or us being saved, salvation came through the Jewish people, but for all. Let me say that again. Salvation came through the Jewish people. That was the avenue by which God saved us. But who was he trying to save? It is offered to all. Now, some of you might be thinking, aren't you in a couple minutes going to say, he gave up his blood for you and for many? Why don't you say for all at that moment? Well, here's why. The reason why I'm saying for many is not because we're excluding people. It is offered to every single person. The reason why we're saying many is some will accept that and some will not. If you don't want to be saved, Jesus isn't going to be like, go to your room. No, if you don't want to be saved, he's not going to save you. He gives you that freedom. So why do we say many? Well, not because it's not offered to everyone, but it's offered to everyone and it's accepted by some. What I want to leave you with, practically speaking, from this passage, this is a big change. This is a huge change. It's like earthquake-level change for the religious people of this time. I just want to tell you, change is hard. I don't know what changes you're going through in your life, but as I think through my life, some of the biggest moments of change as a kid, birth, that's one of them. You're going from being fed and you're in the womb and everything's taken care of and then you're literally forced out. I've never witnessed a birth, but I would imagine that change is not received very well right away by the child. Or like first day of kindergarten. How many of us on the first day of kindergarten were like so upset? What? I used to be able to stay at home and I could watch TV and I could have snacks with mom and I could do all this stuff. And now I have to go and stand in a line and do all... Okay, there's probably going to be tears about that until you get used to it. Or again, I remember in middle school, in St. Michael, the Catholic school went through 6th grade. And so in 6th grade, then you had to transfer over to the public school for 7th grade. And I remember the first couple weeks were really rough for me. That was a hard change. I was like, I don't have friends. This is nothing like I'm used to. It's way bigger than it. It was miserable for the first couple weeks. That was a hard change. But man, I'm happy I did that. I'm happy that I went to kindergarten. I'm happy I was born. Ultimately, the change was good, but it was painful in the moment. Change is all around us. And in your life too. Your neighborhood, roads, your work, your relationships, even your changing health. But here's my point to you today. For the people in the Acts of the Apostles and for us, change without a shepherd is very scary. Change without a shepherd is very scary because I have to do it on my own. I have to have my own back. I have to see this thing through. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. And so I can either resist it or I can just give up. Neither is a very great place to be. But what about change with a shepherd? With a shepherd, it's a totally different ballgame. Actually, I'm not in charge of this story. I'm following a trustworthy God. You've heard me use this quote before. I'll go anywhere with you, Jesus, but I'll go nowhere without you. I'll go anywhere with you because I know that you're going to lead me to verdant pastures. Even if this change feels like a complete earthquake in my life, I will go there with you. So I'll leave you with this. Let's not be afraid to entrust an unknown future to a known God. The changes that he is proposing to us in our own personal life and in the world, he's good. God is good. He knows what he's doing. Let's stay close to him. Let's be sheep with a shepherd.